unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But what a run he had in a very short period of time with the Ganassi Racing Team.
All right, Matthew, where can people find your work and your masterpieces, sir?
Twitter, MATTEMBURY is where I have it. And, of course, the big focus for locally here in Northern Indiana, can Penn get to the state finals? They play Carmel on WSBT. Our coverage starts at 3:30 this afternoon online and on our main feed.
All right, buddy. We'll talk with you soon. Matthew Embry from WSBT up in South Bend, talking some March Madness and Selection Sunday and our official IndyCar contributor. My name is Marquis, President. Going to take a break. Be right back with Steve Wilson, Editor-in-Chief of Speedway Digest. We're going to be talking some NASCAR. That's right. We're still talking racing right here on the Balance Radio Network.
The Air National Guard is a reserve component of the United States Air Force and serves alongside active-duty Air Force members in times of a national crisis. In addition, the Air Guard serves the state and local community in a wide range of capacities. The reason people join the Air Guard is as diverse as our members and includes such reasons as a deep desire to serve their country, money for college, travel, new job skills, and the pride that goes along with belonging to the greatest military organization in the world. I joined because I felt a calling to serve my country, but I didn't want to be far away from my family, so the Indiana Air National Guard was a perfect fit for me. With over 95 different career opportunities to choose from and 100% paid college tuition to any state-funded college, why not give us a call? Call 1-800-841-3103 or visit online at goang.com to find out more. Again, that's 1-800-841-3103. The Air National Guard, guarding America, defending freedom.
It's double trouble, double the fun at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. See the largest antelope on Earth, the giant eland, and the ugliest creature on Earth, the African warthog. There's so much to see and do, including the Midwest's only drive-through safari. Feed the animals, see live educational shows, feel the excitement. Have your picture taken with a python or cockatoo. Feel the adventure. Shop the Symbol Lodge gift shop with items available from around the globe. Visit the snack bar or picnic facilities. Enjoy a pony or camel ride. Or cheer your favorite porker on to victory in the famous Pork Chop Down. Bring your family to see the rare and exotic animals at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. Just take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the sign. Only 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your move.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
All right, and welcome back to The Balance. 1 hour in the books. Thanks to Mo from the BS Sports Show and Matthew Embry from WSBT up in South Bend joining us for some bracketology. And, of course, Matthew joining us for some IndyCar talk. Or it's time to get into some NASCAR talk with Editor-in-Chief of Speedway Digest and our official NASCAR contributor, Mr. Steve Wilson. How are you, sir? You got to be elated about your Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah, living here in Virginia, plenty of coverage last night. of just just knocking them out of the contest last night. I mean, I only caught a couple minutes here and there as I was walking by the TV, but I think a lot of people thought the UVA was gonna be a much stronger contender than what they were, and especially ranked number one. But good for Florida State, though. We didn't do anything in football. Maybe we can do something in basketball.
We'll see what happens. In Virginia, it's clearly, one would think, we don't know yet because everything is hypothetical, but tomorrow is Selection Sunday. It's not looking good for my Hoosiers, but I'm holding out faith. I got the faith. Hey, let's talk a little bit let's get a recap from last week's racing action. And, of course, we got one more race on the West Coast swing, and then we come back this way. And then you got Martinsville. You got a lot of short track racing, which is so much fun to watch. But Steve, talk with us a little bit about NASCAR last week. Give us a recap, and let's talk about what's going on this weekend with Xfinity and the Monster Energy Series as well.
Well, I think the talk of the town was not only the fight between Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell during qualifying last week, but Kyle Busch continues his ascension to 200 NASCAR Series wins. I
and apparently he has to build a house to hold. Apparently he has to build a house to hold his trophies. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. What did he say? A 60,000 square foot a race shop, a house down at KBM or something to that nature.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
I guess. But at the end of the day, I think the conversation has been, how do you compare Kyle Busch and what he's done to somebody like Richard Petty, who won 200 National Series victories. I think the conversation is that you can't really there's no way to quantify the two together. When Richard Petty was running, they were running as many as 70, 80 races a year, sometimes as many as 3 or 4 times a week. For Kyle Busch, he doesn't have that opportunity to run 3 or 4 or 5 times a week and 70 or 80 races a year. As NASCAR continues to cut down the number of events that on National Series driver can enter into the lower series, such as Xfinity and the trucks. It's hard to quantify these things, and especially Kyle Busch had the opportunity to get to 200 victories within 3 different racing series, where Richard Petty did it in 1. While at the end of the day Kyle Busch is going to exceed, I think we will probably see him in the high 200s, sub 300s by the time that he is done with his career. There's just no way to quantify the two together. Richard Petty will always be the king of the sport. He won 200 victories in the National Series. Kyle Busch doing it across 3 different racing series within NASCAR. So, again, it's hard to quantify them. And when is that victory going to come for Kyle Busch? Will it come this weekend? Not sure. I wouldn't expect it at a place like Martinsville, but, as we start moving along, as we get to Bristol and Richmond, we may see Kyle Busch hit that 200 mark.
Well, absolutely, and you're right about Kyle Petty, but at the same time, we look at legends continue to evolve, and the thing about it is Petty's not racing currently, and Busch is. Let's look at this last weekend's Hall of Fame inductees. Some really good names, the big names down there at Daytona Speedway. Talk with us a little bit about the 2019 Hall of Fame.
Well, the Hall of Fame induction down there with Tony Stewart and Frank Heady and Linda Vaughn, as well as others. These are highly respected people within all forms of motorsports, and unlike the Hall of Fame in Charlotte, are you talking about Charlotte, or are you talking about down in Daytona? Because we've had two different Hall of Fames.
You're making me dizzy, Steve. I don't know. Whatever just happened in Daytona.
Okay, Daytona. Okay, good.
Way to expose my lack of show prep on the Hall of Fame. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, we've had two different Hall of Fames already in the last week with the announcement in Charlotte for the 2020s, and then, everything. But, back to, I just want to be clear, but, as far as Dario Franchitti and Tony Stewart, Linda Vaughn, and the others that were inducted into the Hall of Fame this past weekend or in Daytona, it's a representation of all the people that have brought the sport together in various different disciplines. I think a lot of people would probably recognize Linda Vaughn and her being in the late 60s and 70s, and basically the trophy girl within the sport.
The first Danica.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can really compare her to that. Because she actually won races. So for her, it very much is a representation of how the sport has moved along and the people that have put it together. Tony Stewart, as far as his multiple wins, multiple championships across various different disciplines, it just brings together again the fact of people that have put their lives into this sport and move the ball a considerable distance. And for Dario Franchitti, for some of the things that he's done in open wheel racing, yet again, I like the fact that they just don't pick one discipline. They just don't pick stock car racing. They don't pick open wheel. They don't pick sprint cars. They pull people from various different disciplines, people that again have moved the ball in this sport, made it a better place, and I don't think necessarily that you have to win a championship to get in there, but I think that that helps. But again, they look at the overall factor of what you've done for this sport, how you've moved this sport along into the future, or what you did in your time during the sport to make it a better place. And I think that we see that representation between the people that they're putting in there.
We're talking with Steve Wilson, editor-in-chief of Speedway Digest, certainly our official NASCAR contributor. Last race in the West Coast Swing, Fontana. We look at the Xfinity race in qualifying as well. They've got a new rule in place, slow down on pit row. What's that about?
Well, in the past we've not had any pit row speed during qualifying, and last week at Phoenix there were some issues that came out with some of these drivers speeding down pit road while other drivers were trying to go out on tracks, and NASCAR slapped this pit road penalty just as if you were in the race, and you would they started cracking down on that. Although yesterday in qualifying, and I'm just going to use NASCAR's words on this, the drivers made a complete mockery out of the process.
Well, pit row is always a contagious little beast, isn't it? We could use another B word if we wanted to, that's for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's on tap for the Auto Club out in Fontana for both Xfinity and the Monster Energy Series. Before we talk a little bit more about what's going on as they come back east here.
Well, as far as both for Fontana, both today and tomorrow, the thing is that this track it has some tire wear associated with it, but there's multiple grooves as the asphalt has continued to age into this facility. It's continued to move grooves out closer to the wall. We've seen play like Kyle Larson. He likes to run the wall just inches off of it all the way around the racetrack. And then